Hello and welcome to I'm Broken Ben, the new show on this channel. You might know me as Ben from FIFA Saved My Life that I started a couple of years ago and had a decent run at. I did a show for a while called FIFA Saved My Life based on the fact that FIFA helped me through the early stages of depression. That technically saved my life, and I carried it on talking about depression, but also playing FIFA and doing lots to do with that. That has come to an end. My time with FIFA has come to an end. I really kind of had my fill of it, if you like, and decided to move on. And I wanted to concentrate on the depression part. Now, I had lots and lots and lots of very nice messages after I'd finished the channel saying that I'd help people, that I was supportive towards them. I made things better for them, etc. It was just nice to talk to me. So yeah, I wanted to continue it. I was encouraged to continue the channel in a different guise, and here it is. I'm Broken Ben instead of FIFA Saved My Life. So welcome to the first show. We are going to concentrate solely on things like depression and anxiety, bipolar, just lots of different elements of mental health and mental illness. I have lots in store. I have loads and loads in mind to do, and lots of videos to put up. So please make sure you hit a like and a subscribe. It won't only not mean a lot to me, but I've decided where I supported Mind on the FIFA Save My Life show and gave a percentage of my profits that I made off the advertising on to Mind. I am now going to support a local charity that my football team that I currently manage in Bristol also support, and he's called On The Record, which helps 11 to 25-year-olds suffering from depression and mental illness. They also do lots of different things, from one-to-one therapy to lots of different programs that they can get into, whatever is relevant to help them feel better or help them basically survive. It is an amazing charity within Bristol, and I'm really proud to be supporting them on this channel as well as in the football team. So On The Record, there will be a link down below to them if you want to check them out, but that's where a percentage of my profits will be definitely going to them. Yes, right, so now we've done that bit, let's talk about what we're going to talk about today. Well, like I said, I've got lots of different topics and I didn't know where to start. So I've got things like the difference between sadness and depression. I've got things like the 7 signs of depression that I've started working on. At my time in the crisis centre, when I got admitted to a crisis centre due to basically suicide. So I did a video diary that will be coming out. A day in the life of someone with depression. So then again, obviously you can see that what depression actually feels like. What does depression look like as well? And if you're feeling depressed, watch this. And again, I'm going to give you some hints and tips. So, and again, anything you want. If you're feeling depressed or you want to know some questions and answers, number one, I'm always going to say I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to give you medical advice. I am here to tell you about my personal experiences and how I've got to this stage so far. I am 4 years into my depression, or just over 4 years in fact. I have clinical depression. I have anxiety, and I also have bipolar now. That's it. I have the 3. I have the collection. I can go to the local garage and pick up a decanter for free now, because I have all 3 tokens. But joking aside, I have a vast experience of working with the mental health industry, how good and bad they are. I also have a lot of experience of what you have to do with the doctors and the GPs to get them to either take you seriously or to hurry things up, etc. So there are lots of different things, whether it's disability benefits, whether it's anything. Please ask away, and I will make a show on it. That's what I'm here for. I'm here to also make sure that you feel a bit more comfortable. Maybe you don't tell people at the moment that you've got depression. Maybe you don't want to tell people, and I don't blame you. That's absolutely fine. But maybe you just want to feel a bit more comfortable that you have it and someone else has it as well. I'm going to say I'm upfront and honest about everything that happens in my life when it comes to depression. Again, whatever it is, I will be very, very honest with you. Probably too honest, but I will be very honest, because again, it might be the difference between you accepting your depression. It might be the difference between you asking for help for your depression. It might motivate you to go and see your GP or talk to a family member, and that's all this is about, guys. It's not anything else. I'm not, Superman or anything like that. I am just going to be here to talk about my experiences, and then hopefully someone or some people watching these videos have some sort of motivation to go and follow my lead and ask for help in the right places. So that is the idea. So what we're going to start with today, well, we're going to start with basically what is depression. That is today's show, guys. Again, not all of it is my own work. I have taken some of it from different sources, which I feel very, very relevant to myself, and quite broad to a lot of other people as well. So again, some of it will hit, some of it will stick, some of it will miss, but I'm just going to go through some bullet points and talk about them as I do. Right, so let's start the first one. As I said, this is what is a depression, and I got notes on my thing, so if it looked like I'm reading it, it's because I am, because my memory. And again, the first thing that goes with your depression is your memory, guys. It is something that you have to get used to. I write everything down. You'll see things written down here. You'll see things. I will have things written on the screen. I've got boards up on the wall. My memory is shot to pieces, and that is purely because your brain just cuts it out, because it's partly not important while your brain's fighting this disease. So yeah, be aware. If your memory is shot and you think you got depression, it's probably a good sign that you have. So yes, you have to excuse me if I look like I'm reading. It's because I am. So depression is the leading cause of disability in the world, believe it or not. Places like the United States, UK, etc. Have around 10% of adults struggling with depression at this moment in time. That is a massive number, guys. That is an absolute massive number. But because mental illness, it can be a lot harder for people to understand than other diseases, such as heart failure or heart problems, whether it be the big ones like cancer, or other illnesses out there that are a little bit more visual. Mental illness is a lot harder to understand because it's invisible to a certain degree. One of the major sources of confusion is the difference between having depression and feeling depressed. That is a big one, guys, and again, I'm going to do a whole video on this, but again, people do feel down from time to time, and that is absolutely valid, and you should. You get bad grades at school, you lose your job, you have an argument with your significant other, you are annoyed because the weather is terrible, or you just have a bit of a day where you don't feel great. That is absolutely okay, but that is not depression. That is not depression at all. Circumstances will change. You will, in a couple of days' time, it will disappear and you feel fine again. And you've just had a bad couple of days. Clinical depression is very, very different. It is a medical disorder, guys. That's how serious it is. It is a medical disorder, and when we're talking about 10% of the population has it, that kind of shows how rife it is. It will not go away, even if you want it to. There is a nice little doggy over in the corner, the black dog. If you have never watched it, please watch it. It is very inspirational. It's all to do with depression, and black dog, a big black dog, is used as a kind of a visual way of showing what depression is. You'll see over there one of the little gifts that I've got is showing that he's trying to get rid of the black dog and it don't want to go away. And that is the truth of it, guys. The idea of when you hear people say pull yourself out of it, snap yourself out of it, just stop being sad, is something someone said to me before. Just stop being sad. All right, I'll do that. But it doesn't matter if you want to or you do not want to. It won't go away. It's not like that. It's not like you can just click your fingers and go, oh, I don't want to have a heart attack. If it's happening, it's happening. There's a reason for it. And guess what? The consequence of it is you have the heart attack. If you have depression, you're going to have depression, and the consequence is you suffer from depression. So it is not something that you can sort of click your fingers and it disappears, or will it away and just, it's got to go away. It doesn't go away. It can linger for sort of a couple of weeks and then just progress. So if you're a couple of weeks into, like, maybe your first depressive episode, then you might want to start talking to a doctor, because if it's been more than a couple of weeks, then it's not a couple of days of feeling a bit down. It's a couple of weeks. That's serious. That's a fortnight. If it's longer than that, again, you really need to be talking to someone regarding the issues that you're feeling, because it only gets worse, and the longer you leave it, the worse it gets. So yeah, I'd highly recommend if you're kind of a couple of weeks into it. It significantly interferes with one's ability to work, play, or even love. Now, let me talk about that. Again, I haven't worked for a while. I have no desire to at the moment, and not because I'm lazy. I've worked since the age of 15, and I worked up to 4 years ago, and worked very long hours. Worked 14 hours a day, pretty much 5 days a week. There's times where I work 7 days a week when I have my own businesses. I have no desire not to work, but I have no desire to work at the moment, due to the fact that I just couldn't cope with it. And I know that. I've been to interviews when at early doors, when I didn't know that I properly had depression, or it was a thing that was going to stick around. And yeah, I just broke down in tears when I was trying to do the interviews. I did, and you're just incapable of dealing with it, and that's unfair on yourself to put yourself into positions where you can't deal with it. Now, it depends on what kind of depression you have and how severe it is. You can be functioning and you can go to work, and that is absolutely fine. And you just have to deal with the depression that you have around that, or you could be completely like myself, where you can't function at all in any way situation, and the bit of pressure does break you and not help you at all. So yeah, there is different ways of it, and like I said at the very beginning, it's quite unique. Depression, it's like a snowflake. Everybody will have a different take on it, but there is some very, very normal sort of standards that we all have, and it will affect you. It will affect your ability to, like I said with FIFA Saving Life, it's something that I'm just not interested in. Now, that might be the depression, but it's been a while now since I felt that, but it might be the depression, and that's something I've got to think about. I'm a football manager. That's something that I've given up more than once, and I probably shouldn't have, and now I'm back in it. When I think about giving it up, I don't, because I know that's probably my brain fooling me and trying to poison things against me, and I sit it out and I'll wait and see how I feel in a week's time or so, and then usually it changes and it allows me to sort of get over it, and I have to bite my lip and sort of get through it. But that's what I've learned since being on depression. And again, love is hard. It's very hard. You know that you do, but you kind of don't feel it, which is a bit like having a really nice meal but you can't taste it. That's kind of love. You know that you do, you feel it, but you can't actually feel the actual love, and that it's very hard to describe if you haven't had it. But yeah, it is a very big symptom. Depression can have a lot of different symptoms. Low mood, loss of interest, things you normally enjoy. Again, one of the things I usually enjoy, or used to enjoy very much so, was films. I was known very much as a film buff. Again, I do struggle to sit down through a film now without getting a bit angsty or irritated. So that has changed for me, and it's something that I know I enjoyed. It's something I probably know I still enjoy, but it's something that I have to kind of force myself to do, because I get irritated by it, and that's something that's changed since my depression. You do get a change of appetite. That's a big thing. You either eat a lot of crap like me, and it doesn't help, and then obviously the pills that you're on also put on a lot of weight gain, so again you then feel low about yourself for that, or you don't eat a lot and obviously you lose a lot of weight, so and then it makes you weaker and not as strong as you could be to fight what you're doing. So either way, it's not a good thing, and it doesn't help a lot. You either sleep too much or too little. I'm in the camp of sleeping too little. I don't sleep an awful lot during the night, and during the day I get very tired as the day goes on, and then I have little naps as the day goes on. So yeah, it kind of goes one way or another. You have very much poor concentration, restlessness, slowness, loss of energy, recurring thoughts of suicide. Now, that's not everybody who has depression. So if you're not having that, don't feel bad about it. Feel very grateful for it. It's something that I do have. I'm one of those people who use suicide as a bit of a comfort blanket. And that seems like I take it lightly, and I will talk about it a lot. And I seem quite blasé, I suppose, about it, but don't think that I take it very lightly. It's just something I'm very used to. I've had very many years of it being a constant thought in the back of my head, and sometimes it's not in the back of your head, it's a constant thought that comes to the front of your head, and you act upon it. So I'm actually very comfortable with it because I'm just very used to it. So please don't be surprised when you hear me talk about it, and I talk about it as if it's me going for an ice cream. It is it's as normal as that for me. I think a lot of it is you struggle to think how you're going to get out of this, and you don't see a way out of it, and you don't want to feel like this forever because it's horrible. And so then your only option that you're guaranteed to stop feeling like it is suicide. So that's kind of what leads you down that path. If you've got no hope of getting out of it, or you think you haven't got hope of getting out of it, that's the thing that then causes you to think that you've got some control over this situation. If you do that, it is very wrong, and it shouldn't be, and it's hopefully sometimes a fleeting thought, or sometimes just a niggling one, or like a bit like me, it's a comfort blanket that just keeps me going, but at the same time, sometimes it takes over and is an overriding thought. So yeah, guys, if you have at least 4 or 5 of these symptoms, you can go to your doctor, and they will basically diagnose you as depressed, and start treating your depression. What causes depression? Well, it seems to have a complex interaction between genes, environment, again, just stuff that's going on in your brain. So again, for me, I had a job that it was very high pressured. They turned on me. It was very hard, and I had to leave in the end. And basically, it caused the depression to trigger. But I had obviously a lot of stuff going on before that. I had a lot of stuff in there, and again, the chemical then imbalance of it all triggered it, and almost like tips you over the edge, and then that's it. Once it's turned on, it doesn't turn off. It's it's kind of easy to turn it on, but it's very hard to turn it off. Who might look fine and actually who's struggling? That's the big thing about depression, and one of the things that I think not gives it a bad rap, but gives it a thing where people struggle to understand that you have depression. I can make jokes, I can be the funniest guy in the room sometimes, but it doesn't mean I don't go away and feel the depression. I'm one of these people who try to make a lot of people happy. I manage a football team. I do a lot of work behind the scenes that the players don't understand it, or even don't respect the work that I do behind the scenes. But all that is because I'm just trying to make people happy. I don't want anybody feeling as bad as I do. And that is my whole life at the moment, is I don't want people to feel as bad as I do. I wouldn't wish this upon my worst enemy. I wouldn't wish it upon Hitler. He's not my worst enemy, obviously he's dead. But I wouldn't wish it upon someone like Hitler, because it is just absolutely horrible. But if you have it, one of the things is you don't want other people to have it. So you put yourself out a lot, and you work really hard on not bringing other people down. Some people do. I've met a lot of people who are not only depressed, but they kind of portray it and project it on other people, and that's fine because they have no ability to not, or they're in that place where they're not. It's not a choice. They do. I'm of the other fight where I can put on a smile and pretend really easily, but a lot of it is just, like I said, because I'm trying to make sure people are happy rather than feeling as bad as I do. An average person suffering from mental illness, over 10 years it can take them to ask for help. Now that's too long, guys. That is far too long to ask for help for mental illness. I probably took 6 months before I realised this ain't going away, and how I feel is not right at all. I also tried asking for help on things like Facebook and things. I put a lot of retweets and repostings of mental illness charities, or what is mental illness and stuff like that, because it's how I was feeling. I was seeing it, and then I wanted someone to ask me, are you okay in that? And that's a big thing. You just want people to ask if you're okay. So I was doing that for 6 months, and people weren't really picking up on it. I'll be honest, people didn't pick up on it for 6 months, and in that time I then went to the doctor and said, this isn't right. So 10 years is far too long if the average person takes that long. The first steps can seem massive, but make sure that you do them, and don't, for God's sake, feel guilty or ashamed for asking for help. It is why they're there, guys, and take that as read. They want to help you as much as you want help. You've just got to lay it to them and just be really honest. Don't go in and beat around the bush. Just be massively honest with your symptoms and what's happening. Really, labour it's a medical condition, guys. It's not a figment of your imagination. It's not something people make up to be off work for a couple of weeks or anything like that. That is not what proper depression is. Depression is a medical condition. It is no different than something like diabetes or Alzheimer's or something like that. It is no different. It is that. It's not a weakness. It's not a personality trait that is a flaw on your part. The strongest people in the world have had it. The weakest people in the world have had it. Everybody in between. It is so indiscriminate. It will take you whether you want it to or not, and it will take you whether you have lots of money in the bank or no money in the bank. It will take you whether you're a film star or unemployed. It doesn't care. It will just take you. If all the stars line up, unfortunately, it's going to come for you, and that's all there is to it. But it's then accepting that and then working really hard to keep yourself going, keep yourself alive, and then also seeing if you can find an end to that sooner rather than later. Don't ever expect yourself to get over it. It won't just happen. It's not like if you broke your arm, say for instance, you wouldn't just say to someone, it'll be all right, it'll heal, just get over it. It will take a bit of time, but hey, you'll be all right. Yeah, go to the doctor, you get it cast, you get it treated medically properly to make sure it heals the best way possible, and then you don't have a long lasting effect of what the broken arm is if you didn't get it fixed properly. So you wouldn't think twice about doing that, or you wouldn't think twice about taking your kid to the hospital if they broke their arm and things like that, because you just don't want that to be a long lasting effect. Why would this be any different? So that is a big thing, guys. Don't get it in your head. It is not different at all. If you haven't experienced depression yourself, avoid that. If you're watching this again, if you're watching this because you've got a friend who's got depression, or your son or daughter that you think's got depression, or just told you they've got depression, you want to understand it a little bit more from someone with depression, first hint I will give you is do not say, if you haven't ever had depression, and start comparing it with days that you felt down. We all feel down. I've said it at the very beginning. We all have bad days. Even when you have depression, you have bad days. The problem is your depressed days are then made worse by your down days. But don't ever, and I've had this a lot, people, I had a week where I was really bad, or I had a couple of days where I broke up with a girlfriend and then couldn't get over it until a week later and stuff. that's not depression, guys. That's not relating to the problems I've got. That's not relating to problems that anybody's got that's got depression. They are chalk and cheese. It is not the same at all. It's like stubbing your toe and then saying to someone who's had amputation that you understand how they feel. It's not the same. It really isn't. And that's probably the biggest bugbear I have, is people try to relate to you. And it's nice, they want to talk and all the rest, but they try to relate to you in the fact that, you know, they've had a similar experience. If you haven't had proper full-on depression, you haven't had a similar experience, but just listen, understand, and learn from the person who does, and that will mean a lot more to them than you trying to relate to your problem that you had for a day or so. It's the biggest bugbear I think anybody who has depression probably has. Even just talking to someone with depression openly can help, and that's what this channel's for. But like I said, you know, listen to people with depression rather than talk to people with depression. That's another big hint I would give. It's easy to try giving you two penneth worth, and it's nice that you're interested, but again, sometimes saying, you know, I wouldn't talk to a surgeon about how to do brain surgery or open heart surgery. I understand what it is. I understand what the outcome is, and I understand that it's a difficult procedure. But I wouldn't dare have a one-on-one conversation with someone. I would sit there and listen and try learning as much as possible, as much as I can understand without going through it. So yeah, it's not always about trying to have a to and fro conversation. It's about having a conversation where you do a lot more listening than you do talking, and just be very supportive. It means so much more, and it means an awful lot. So yeah, if you're a guy or girl who's not going through it themselves, but someone else is, that is the biggest thing you can do to help. Research, that's a big thing as well. You know, again, obviously, if you kind of got someone who is depressed but you're not, or vice versa, if you're depressed and it's new to you, research it, for Christ's sake. You know, you're looking at this video, look at a lot of other videos, guys, and just keep looking at them. They've all got their individual, and one of them will set alarm bells off, or, you know, you'll have that light bulb moment where you go, that's exactly how I feel. Number one, don't feel so lonely. Number two, you're gonna get some help then. You're gonna get some helpful tips. You're gonna get some kind of idea of what to do if you don't know what to do, because you don't have a playbook for this. This is not something that you're kind of born with and go, I know how to deal with this for the rest of my life. It's something new, you know. Like I didn't get mine until I was 41. I've had 41 normal years, or normal-ish years. So yeah, I've had to deal with it, learn about it, and learn how to deal with it over the last 4 years. So yeah, it's not something that just comes naturally to anybody. Again, obviously, if they are talking about suicide, don't rush to get them committed or anything like that. It's a valid thought, guys. It's a get out, like I said, get out a free jail card. It's a way out. It's how bad they feel, but talk about it, because it will make them feel a lot better. It makes, honestly, I've had people who's talked to me when I was in the crisis house, and honestly, it validates how you feel, and it makes you less likely to commit suicide. It makes you less likely to carry on through there. It makes it less likely to keep eroding away in your brain. It actually helps you feel validated for feeling as bad as you do, but it also allows you to kind of know that it's out in the open, and there's people who can help you if you go to them. So yeah, have a real conversation about it, rather than go to the doctors, go to the hospital, commit yourself. It's not that. People who want to commit suicide are asking for help most of the time, or 90% of the time. If they're not asking, if they're not talking about it, then they've made their mind up, unfortunately. But if they're asking about it and talking about it, which most people do, it's because they're asking for help, and they're at the end of the tether, and it's kind of the only option that they feel they've got. And it's not the only option they've got, but it's the only one they feel they've got, and they need someone just to talk to about it, and someone to understand how they feel, and then maybe to see the light that actually it's not the only option, and what else can I do to make this feeling either go away or quieten down a bit. So that is a big hint. That is the difference between, what makes depression. Again, the big thing is it's a chemical imbalance in your brain, guys. That is a chemical imbalance in your brain. How you feel is different, and again, I'm gonna do a video on how I feel and different things that I feel about it. I've given you little insights on the way because I wanted to be a bit more detailed in the first video. The other videos will be a lot shorter. But what is depression is a big question, and a lot of people don't understand it because they think everybody's okay if you smile, everybody's okay, that you're back to normal, you're not depressed anymore because you're living your life. You think, why wouldn't you? Why shouldn't you live your life? You don't sit in your bedroom crying for the next 4 years and then just suddenly pop out and you're all right. You got to live your life. The difference is it's how you live your life and what kind of future you think you have. That's the big thing. But hopefully that answers some questions on what depression is. Hopefully that gives you a little bit more insight into myself. And as the first video on this channel, for this rebranded channel, if you like, I'm Broken Ben, then you will come back and join me for the next video. Can't tell you what it's going to be because I haven't done it yet, but you've heard some of the ideas that I've had. Again, like I said, I implore you, if you want me to cover a certain topic from my personal experience, then I will quite happily do that, guys. There you go. That is the first episode of I'm Broken Ben. Thank you very much for joining me. Take care of yourself as always. And if you can't, find someone who can. Bye-bye.